What's going on, everybody? My name is Alex, and this is the top 10 reasons why you should buy a Ducati Scrambler. Or just like, if you're thinking of getting a Ducati Scrambler, consider these little kind words I have to say about it. So this is actually technically my first bike. I've had two before this. One I don't even remember because I was a junior in high school or something like that, and I wanted a bike, and it was actually, I think it was a 1000, but it was an older. I've always been a cafe racer kind of guy, and I've always wanted to make my own. And if you've been a part of this channel and have seen the builds on it, I tried to do a 1980 Honda CB650 and completely failed. I guess I wouldn't say completely, but I just kind of gave up on it because it was just too much. There's a certain point of kind of project that you should get into when you're first starting out getting into projects, and doing a full rebuild is kind of a, kind of sketchy. And I almost finished it, but I could not figure out carbs for the life of me. But this is not about that. This is about the Ducati Scrambler I bought. So let's get into it. Excuse my hair if it's really bad, but I wrote a list down because I cannot remember just like things that I think about while I'm taking a shower or driving down the road from getting off my job, whatever. But number one, they're pretty cheap for what they are. Ducati Scramblers are actually really cheap for what they are. I mean, like, you're getting a Ducati and you're getting it for, I bought mine, I think it was for like 6,500 or 7,000 or something around there. I can't remember. I'd have to go back and look at my loan, but that's around what I bought it for. You're getting an 803 L twin, which is it's decently fast. It's honestly a really good bike. I mean, some people say you should start off with like 300s or something. Number two, you don't have to worry about it being old and having to play around with the carb. That's the thing about cafe racers, if you're a cafe racer guy like me, is that usually you're looking for an older bike to, revamp. And because it's a classical thing as cafe racers. And that's why you see a lot of old bikes being converted into cafe racers, because one, they're actually cheap. And two, if you know how to work on them from, bare bones to everything on it, then you're pretty set. But if you have a Ducati Scrambler, you don't have to mess with the carb or anything because it's fuel injected. Fuel injection is thought of for you already. I mean, it has a computer in it that thinks of everything for you other than you adjusting the carb yourself and trying to figure out all that kind of, air and fuel mixtures and back pressure from your exhaust and stuff like that. That's what got me, is that I cut off my exhaust on the CB, and I think that back pressure really got me. I tried the lollipop method, and I think the carb having pods on it really screwed it up, and also having, basically no exhaust really messed it up. All right, number three, it's way newer. It probably doesn't look like it's new because, I mean, it's a Scrambler. It's not like anything totally fancy, but the way you can tell it's new is because of this instrument cluster right here. And newer equals a lower APR for your loan if you're getting a loan, which I'd highly recommend because you don't want to spend your capital. And if you get a loan and if you've never had any credit, you're going to build credit, and that's going to be really helpful in the future if you actually pay your payments on time. So that's another thing I'd recommend. Do not pay your payments. I've never done it. I don't know what happens, but I got a good credit now. Number four, they're easy to mod as well. I mean, appearance wise. As you can see, I've done a few things. I put this bar on here that gives it more aggressive kind of feel to it. I got these bar and mirrors on them. This one's held on, but the other one kind of fell off, and I haven't put it back on yet because they're just cheap $20 Amazon ones. I got this exhaust wrap. The exhaust already came on it, and that's, not stock. It's Works USA exhaust, and it sounds really good. I like how it sounds. But yeah, I put the exhaust wrap on there, and then there's another video on the channel of the seat being made by a custom fabricator in my hometown. So he just used the stock seat and cut the plastic to fit. And these CNC side panels are from Miguel. I think it's an Italian place. I'll put a link in the description, but they're really good. They're not too great with, like, you know, commenting back and forth, but they have a lot of things on their hands because they make a ton of stuff. Their seats are actually really cool too, but they take a couple months to make, and then, you know, you're getting shipped from overseas as well, so that takes even longer. But I think these took about a month to get here, which is actually that bad for overseas. Is that it? I think that's all I've modded so far. I want to get rid of this license plate bracket and get a side one that actually comes from Miguel too, and get some knobbier tires, a bigger tire in the back, which would be really cool. And then probably do a delete of the turn signals and make them a little bit smaller, and, you know, just flush with the bike. Oh, what's another thing that I do? I was just thinking about it. Oh, get a front cowl that goes around the headlight. That would look really cool too. And those are all I can really think of right now. Number 5 is that they are fast, but they're not like extremely fast to get you in some serious trouble. I mean, I think the top speed is like 110, and I've personally gotten to like 1. There's a couple ways you can take this bike. You can either, you know, make it completely off-road. There's actually a version of the Ducati Scrambler that's called the Desert Sled, and that's more fixed towards going off-road. But you can honestly change any of them to be off-road. I mean, they're pretty off-roady, just stock. So I mean, if I didn't change my handlebars, this thing would actually be pretty good off-road, and it still is good off-road, but it's just weird having the, you know, the Clubman handlebars on there and taking it on this. It's not like sketchy, it's just, it feels different because I ride a mountain bike, and it's just weird having those handlebars. But yeah. Number 7, you are very different from what else is on the street. That exhaust is hot. I don't know why I'm sitting on this backwards, but I am. But yes, you are very different from what else is on the street. I personally haven't seen any other Ducati Scramblers. I've never ran into any others in Boone or Ames. I don't go to Des Moines, so I don't know about that yet, but I just haven't seen any. And I go to college too, and there's a lot of motorcyclists that, you know, park where all the motorcycles park, and I haven't seen any Ducati Scramblers. So that's actually pretty cool. Sean and I try and strive to be the different ones with the different vehicles. I think I succeeded here with the Ducati Scrambler because it's just way different, and it suits my personality. When people hear Ducati, they think quality, and they think, you know, quality is expensive. And that's because Ducati was the king of powerful bikes for a long time. And they had very few competitors in that regard back then. And they still are quality. Like I said before, it's a good beginner bike, and that was number 9. I don't know how I intertwined that before, but yeah, it's a good beginner bike if you know how to shift. If you don't know how to shift, I'd probably get somebody else's crappier bike that isn't $6,500 that you're probably gonna ruin. If you really don't know how to shift a bike, watch a YouTube video first, okay? And then go and shift your new Ducati Scrambler. 10 is kind of a thing you should be weary of. And that's, you know, like I said, this thing isn't really fast. And if you have friends with crotch rockets and stuff, and you're wanting to keep up with the group or whatever, you're not gonna keep up in this. It's really torquey, like starting off, but high up, there's nothing there. if you're going like 70 down the highway and shift down, don't expect that you're just gonna take off and do wheelies or whatever. You're not. It's not made to be like that. So that's one of the downsides, but honestly, all I have is good things to say about this other than that it's slow. And personally, I don't really mind that because I'm more an appearance guy and I just love the look of cafe racers. And I'm definitely gonna do more stuff to this. Especially, I think I might, you know, get a couple different seats because I like changing it up. And then also having the girlfriend on the back would be, you know, a cool thing to have. Because this is, you know, that's gonna be weird for somebody to sit on. It wasn't made for a passenger. I like having the cowl looking seat, but yeah, those are the good things and one bad thing sort of on why you should get a Ducati Scrambler if you're considering it. So I hope I helped you out with choosing if you want to buy a Ducati Scrambler. But yeah, those are my reasons, and one different reason, kind of bad but not really, reason why you should buy a Ducati Scrambler. Thanks, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.